Good morning. Hey, we had a nice picnic last week, didn't we? It was great. Nice, beautiful weather, a little bit of drumming, a little bit of divination, had fun. Good food. Thank you, Joe and Valerie. Thanks for cooking. So. And Lori, oh, of course. I mean, that goes without saying. Yeah, Lori and everybody else. Oh, you know what, Jan? You have something up here that we need to do here one of these days. I was trying to hide it from someone, so.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to just do that now since I brought it up?
Yeah.
Okay. It's been up here for a while.
We had a class on channeling, how to channel, and this person was part of the participants who has not yet received her certificate of completion. So it is with a wonderful honor and delight I present Tracy Sechrist. Certificate of completion. One more.
Thank you. One more. Who's that?
But they're not here.
I know. I figured it was. Okay.
Rochelle.
Oh, okay. Things that make you go, actually make you think. Ooh, what a concept. This was Mickey Rooney. You always pass failure on your way to success. Dang it. A man's character is his fate. Heracles, 540 BC. I know, smart people back then. The final test of fame is to have a crazy person imagine he is you. I like that. Success is an accident well placed.
Wow.
Could be. Some of us more than others, that's for sure. Okay, stuff going on this week. That would be, of course, we have Qigong every Sunday. And Oneness Blessing. And Oneness Blessing before services. And Oneness Blessing after. Thank you, William and Sandra. Followers of the Way, second service tonight. You want to say anything about that?
Be here, be square.
Okay. Second service, if you wonder what that is, talk to Janny. Or excuse me, Janice. I know she doesn't like to be called Janny. I guess I'm the only one that calls her Janny. Amongst other things. Of course, she calls me other things too.
I call
Drumming.
you my beloved.
You do. You do. She calls me by that, and that is just, I mean, it doesn't matter what's happening. I pick up the phone and she says that, and I go, oh.
You're easy, Phil.
I know. I'll just leave that one alone. I just totally leave that one alone. Tuesday, drumming circle, and Daryl's not here, but I know Tuesday is going to have drumming circle. Wednesday, interchange. Had 17 people here this last Wednesday, so cool deal. Intuitive development on Thursday with the Janice. And of course on the calendar there's a thing on the back that Jan wrote. Imagine that. And Sandra. Also, this was near anybody that does United Way. I say this for a couple of weeks, a few weeks in this time of year. If you're doing United Way at work and they're badgering you and you're going to do it anyway and you're not sure whether you want the money to go, you can write in the Divine Fellowship and we actually do get it here. So thank you for the people that do that. Some people have been doing that for 10 years. It's appreciated. It really is. Because this place does not run on fumes. Edgar Casey, they've got some stuff going on later this month and the first part of October. It was talked about more in depth last week. More information is sitting back there. Yeah, I did talk about it last week before you talked about it. So.
Oh, okay. Do I need more flyers?
I don't know, do you? I didn't see.
There's a whole bunch. Okay.
Okay. But yeah, flyers in the back. Cool deal. Thank you very much. And, 1896. Oh, this is a name for you. My Swedish is going to get me. Svante Arrhenius, the Nobel Prize-winning Swedish chemist, was the first to predict global warming when he suggested that burning fossil fuels would result in the buildup of carbon dioxide in the Earth's atmosphere. 1896.
Wow.
And we still haven't listened.
Yep. Okay. Oh, there we go. Under the weather. Ever wonder where that term came from? I'm not going to tell you. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. This saying comes from early seaman's language. When the weather at sea starts to get rough, tossing the ship around, most people go below to their cabins to try not to get sick. Those who went below were literally going under the weather. Soon the phrase was being used on both land and sea. Interesting, huh? Does that really work?
Ship rocks less the lower you go.
Yeah. So that really does? I mean, I know it does, but that really helps?
Yeah, you're a true sailor if you can eat greasy pork chops and look at the water.
Yeah. Up on the top of the mast. Yeah. By the way, don't try that. Don't try that. Second service. We do send out weekly email notifications. There's stuff going on at the church. We only send out one a week on hopefully Thursday, sometimes Friday.
Sometimes not at all.
Yeah, every once in a while, not at all, but do our best. So if you want to get those emails and anything else, sometimes urgent stuff comes up. Those are sent out. So make sure we have your email. And we do get some returned every once in a while. So update us if you've had a change, please.
You can always opt out.
Yeah, obviously you can always opt out. And you know, I had to thank people on YouTube. Hello, YouTubers. There are people, I run into them every once in a while, that live in this area. I mean, some actually in the Tri-Cities, that have never set a seat in our church, but have watched us on YouTube a lot, and they're subscribers. Oh yeah, please, yeah, everybody, if you go on there and do the stuff, like us, that helps. You know, just even if you go on and look at a video, like it. Even if you don't? No. A minister waited in line to have his car filled with gas just before a long holiday weekend. The attendant worked quickly, but there were many cars ahead of them. Finally, the attendant motioned to him toward a vacant pump. "Reverend," said the young man, "I'm so sorry about the delay. It seems as if everyone waits until the last minute to get ready for a long trip." Of course, the minister chuckled. "I know what you mean. It's the same in my business." Yep. And we did get an update on Christopher. He did have the operation to get the radioactive thingies implanted on his liver. But they only did half of the liver. They're going to do the other half in October. And I guess he's in a lot of pain because I guess they did something to his lung when they were going in, and so every time he breathes, so he's kind of hurting. But he's home because of the operation, so that's a good thing. So John Lennon, we do have a couple patron saints, John being one of them, and George Carlin being the other. John, life is what happens while you are busy making other plans. Absolutely true. And George, y'all know IQ, y'all? What throws back to my Southern days? It was, when I was in the Air Force, I swear every single roommate I had was from the South. And some of them were like from the deep South, mumbling type Southern. I picked up those accents like that. Yeah. I did my fix and twos, my all, and I mean, I did everything, boy. So anyway, I think I went off on a bunny trail somewhere there. IQ, you're familiar with IQ and where the kind of the numbers are and life expectancy, of course. The IQ and the life expectancy of the average American recently passed each other in opposite directions. Oh. It's a joke, it's George. It's a George joke. Yeah, it wasn't really true. Unless, of course, maybe it was, I don't know. Okay, Washington Post recently published a bunch of alternate meanings for common words. And I think I did coffee last week, going the person whom one coughs on. Okay, flabbergasted, appalled by the discovering how much weight one has gained. Abdicate, to live up, to give up all hope of ever having a flat stomach. Esplanade, to attempt an explanation while drunk. That'll do it. Why did everybody like that one? Possibly. Little girl, Anita, age 9. Is it better to be single or married? Well, it's better for girls to be single, but not for boys. Boys need someone to clean up after them.
Why are you looking at me?
Don't it? God and scientists. God is sitting in heaven when a scientist prays to him. God, we don't need you anymore. Science has finally figured out a way to create life out of nothing. And that's somewhat true. In other words, we can do what you did in the beginning. Oh, is that so? Well, tell me, replies God. Well, says the scientist, we can take dirt and form it into the likeness of you and breathe life into it, thus creating man. Well, that's interesting. Show me. So the scientist bends down to the earth, starts to mold the soil, and he goes, no, 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 interrupts God. Get your own dirt. Okay. Oh, and I did, yeah, there were a couple other things, but go ahead.
Couple of things.
Yeah.
Other things. Okay, real quick, the Blue Man Group tickets. Again, I'm selling them. I'm going to be selling them until 2 weeks prior. It's down low then.
It's
I'll
down,
put it up
yeah,
close.
put it up.
How's that? Better? Oh. Be like a singer with a mic in my mouth. Okay, Blue Man Group tickets. These are the ones that were donated to the church. It's Spokane, 19th of October, 1 p.m. is when the concert is. $2 a ticket. We're not putting names on the ticket, so you will need to keep a hold of your ticket. That was my bad. I didn't think of it until it was too late. We will announce the winner 2 weeks prior to the thing so you can make plans and everything. But don't worry about not being notified if you're not in church the day we do it. It's going to be on YouTube. We'll post it on the Facebook page. Janice can put it out in her email, and we'll just make sure that the word is out. So make sure you check all those places. They can purchase them from me. $2 a piece. 2 weeks before the concert, so I don't know what that exact date is. We'll announce it. They can contact me. I'll put my phone number out there. They can contact me. They can send us an email. They can post it on Facebook. They can message us. If you guys have access to the internet, you can check it on YouTube. And so I'll put my number out there. I don't care if my number's out there. Call me.
Hey, we are hooked up.
We are.
As
We
my
are
son
so
would say.
hooked up.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
We have another announcement.
I recently signed up for by world-class researchers, and it's quite interesting. I'm loud. Oh, you need it on Facebook? Okay, how's that? Okay, I recently signed up for an online course free from the University of California, Berkeley on the science of happiness. And while it's not necessarily things you haven't heard before, it pulls together all the science in one place and is quite interesting. So if you want to know how to register for that, you can contact me, or maybe I can send the link to somebody to put up someplace.
Join with me in this spiritual activity. Rise, I say. Did I warn you I'm in a kind of a weird place this morning?
I could feed you grapes. We have grapes out in the kitchen. Fresh off the FOV, fresh off the vine. They're good. The Concords are really good, but they have seeds. These don't.
Would you mind holding that till
Sure.
another time? Thank you.
Oh, not here.
Grapes of wrath, I think. told you I was in a weird mood. Hey, fun stuff today. How are you? Have you ever felt burnt out? I want to share with you today how to access, activate, and connect with your spiritual reset button. Wouldn't that be nice? Yes. Because we have one, and it's a wonderful thing. Now, before I tell you about that, let me tell you about stress. Stress is this process that we all experience. And if we surrender into it and allow it to serve us, then we can move to a higher level of functioning. When Phil and I first got married, I had a teenage son. I don't think I need to tell you a whole lot more about that. But my stress level and Phil's stress level were what we could tolerate was here. And we can tolerate a whole lot more now as a result of being challenged so profoundly on lots of different levels. Not that we got numb, because numbing out or getting depressed or falling into the old addictions, those kinds of things don't serve. And there was a time when I did that, and it didn't serve me very well. When I allowed myself to surrender into the stress, I had a breakthrough. It was wonderful. So stress in and of itself is not something that we can eliminate from our lives, because if we try to do that, we end up numbed out. And that's not really living. Real living is when we can face the challenges as they hit and overcome them. Now, let me talk to you just briefly about surrender. This is not where I was going to go, but apparently it is. Surrender is this beautiful moment. Well, let me tell you, it's like this. It's like this. Have you ever had a really busy day and you're just go, 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 and you're exhausted and your head hits the pillow? That's surrender. When you can just go, oh, I can rest now. That's surrender. Surrender is not giving up. Surrender is not failure. Surrender is when you can allow yourself to be in the process. That's surrender. When you feel safe. And it's in that moment of surrender that we have this breakthrough and can break into a whole different level of awareness that gives us the strength to endure even more. So with that said, I want to talk to you about this reset, the spiritual reset button that we all have. I think it's important for us to realize that the spiritual reset that we're looking for isn't necessarily a do-over. Do-over kind of sets us up for that regret. Oh, I did it wrong. I did it wrong. Well, I don't think there's anything wrong. I think everything is a learning process. And when I get into a place where I look back and go, oh man, I really shouldn't have done that, I can trigger some regret about that. Or I can look back at that and go, wow, look at me, I've grown. So I would prefer you be in a place where, oh look, I've grown. And that kind of behavior no longer serves me, and I'm looking for a new way of doing things. So regret really doesn't have a place in your spiritual life. This spiritual reset that I'm talking about helps us be in a place where we can set that stuff that was in the past and recognize that that was then. I did the best that I could then. I would do it differently now because I have different information now. I have different skill set now. I have different support system now. So regret is an energetic guilt trip, self-induced. And we usually get them because we've believed the lie that if we're not perfect, or we're not going to ever be good enough.
And that's a lie. That's a lie. You don't have to be perfect. You just get to be the best that you can be. And then tomorrow when you look back and go, oh, you know, I wouldn't have done it that way. That's a measure of growth. Oh, look, I've grown. How cool is that? And when we can get into that place of how cool is that, that changes everything. That changes everything. So the spiritual reset will help us with that process. Okay? So there's a couple of things I want to share with you about that. First of all, in the Old Testament, one of my favorite passages. Oh, I say that a lot, don't I? This is one of my favorite passages. Psalms 51:10. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. We get to ask for that. We don't have to carry all that old crud any longer. We get to have this renewed spirit. So having a spiritual reset is scripturally approved. Cool? Like that? Wonderful. So now, 2 Corinthians 4:16, we do not lose. Therefore, whenever you see therefore in the Bible, you have to look to read a little ahead or what just was written because you want to know what it's there for. So therefore, we do not lose heart, but though our outer man is decaying, yet our inner man is being renewed day by day. Way cool. Now there's a piece of wonderful information here, and that is that you can hit your reset button every day. You get to have your spiritual reset every day. Every day. So we keep getting renewed. We don't have to keep carrying the same old burdens over and over and over. And we get to have a fresh start, a clean heart, and a renewed spirit every day. Now here's the deal. When Jesus was sharing the Lord's Prayer, I know a lot of you are not Jesus followers, that's way okay, but he had some really cool things to say, and I want to share this with you. Remember he said, give us this day our daily bread. We get to be renewed day by day. Give us our daily bread. Remember in just a few verses ahead of that, Jesus was tempted. And the tempter came to him, verse 3, chapter 4. If you are the Son of God, command these stones become bread. But he answered him and said, it is written, he quotes an old passage in Deuteronomy. It says, man shall not live on bread alone, but every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. So the bread, our daily bread, is not just the physical nourishment. It's spiritual nourishment. And part of that spiritual nourishment is the crap we feed ourselves mentally. We keep telling ourselves the same lies over and over and over and over. You're not good enough, you did that wrong. You're too thin, you're too fat, you're too tall, you're too short, you're too stupid, you're too smart, whatever. I don't know what we tell ourselves. We tell ourselves all kinds of crud that has no value to us. Now, with that said, there's also spiritual junk food. There's also spiritual junk food. What might spiritual junk food be? Spiritual junk food is that stuff that, well, all you got to do is, if anybody says all you got to do is back up a couple of feet, because they're going to give you some spiritual junk food. Because spiritual stuff isn't necessarily easy, requires spiritual discipline. Okay, now I'm going to make myself really embarrassed. It's like sex. Takes effort. I knew it would. It takes effort. You get sweaty. Requires 100% attention. But you're really glad you did. That's spirituality. It requires some effort, but it's not work. So when we put the effort into something, we get this beautiful blessing back. And it's just like sex. Half of what you do is for for the other person's pleasure, when you're blessing someone else, being a bonus or a gift to someone else with your kindness, that's when you get joy and pleasure back. So it is like sex. You're going to have that in your head all day today, aren't you?
And now everybody around the world knows that.
But isn't that true? Have you ever put some spiritual effort into something and then you feel so wonderful when you have? But we expect, oh, I can just sit in the corner and meditate. Well, yeah, meditation's a wonderful thing to do, and you do feel really good about that. But there's also the path of service. If we're not doing something that is of value, that is blessing someone else's life, it's just spiritual self-gratification. And there's another word, but I'm not going to use it. And you know what I'm talking about. Oh, get off this track. Told you I was in a really weird place. Okay. So we get to every day have the spiritual reset button. So part of this process, I want to walk you through a guided meditation. And I'm going to take you to a place that's your intuitive, it's not like a workroom, it's your master control center. And in your master control center, there are things that we can do, that we do in our imagination, that have spiritual and physical significance. Now in this control room, there's the control room that manages the physical form, and there's levels underneath that of each one that manages the physical form. And then above that, there are levels that manage the spiritual form. So we're going to go to the main central one, and we're going to go to the one spiritual one above it. In your own meditations, you might want to go further into those arenas. I would encourage you, before we go in, to ask for a spirit guide to come in and clean things up for you before we get there. Because we tend to clutter this arena, and it's really hard to see what we need to see on a spiritual level when it's already cluttered up. Now, having spiritual assistance here, having a spirit guide to come in and assist you is really important, because there are things that you may not see because of clutter. So we're going to ask for some clutter to be cleared up. My mother was the master of clutter. You walked into her kitchen, if she was going to cook something, she just kind of went, and cleared a little space, and that's where she cooked. I don't function really well that way. Bless her heart, she was a great cook and did wonderful things. It just drove me nuts. But at the same time, she knew where everything was. Feels kind of like that with paperwork. He knows where everything is, but oh my gosh, it's a clear spot. We want to pre-clear some space for you, because when we work on this subconscious, intuitive level, the things that clutter our world, doubts and fears and all that sort of thing, they have more information for us, and we tend to be on overload. And the whole thing is we want to get clear. So let's ask for some assistance. You can ask for whomever you'd like to come and assist you in a spirit form. Now I need, let me tell you about the word need. Okay, I wasn't going to, but here we are. Need. You will hear me in any of my classes, I just badger people the heck out of the word need. Because when I tell you, you need to do this or you need to do that, when we as humans hear the word need, we slip into this place of life or death. And we can go into the primal brain, which is all about fight or flight. And we don't really have choice in that space. So often when spiritual messages come through, they come through with a sense of urgency. And when that sense of urgency comes up, the human form tends to try to say need. But when I would say, you need this, the subconscious mind tags on the phrase, or else you'll die. I need water, or else I'll die. I need food, or else I'll die. I don't need to do what anybody else tells me to do about my life. Now, back when we were cavemen, if an elder said, you need to do that, you did it because that's what kept the whole tribe safe. We don't live like that anymore. Okay? Now, if your employer says you need to do this, then you probably would be required to do that to keep your job. If you don't have a job, you don't feed yourself. And guess what? Your mortality is challenged then. But at the same time, the urgency that I wish to present to you, I want to make sure I present it to you in a way that you don't hit your primal brain, but rather you hit this conscious awareness, and you can make a choice with your prefrontal cortex, which gives you the opportunity to use your higher mind, your connected mind, your divine self. Okay? So the urgency here is that we are all hit with so many stressors during the week. And we hit this overload place really, really often. And it's wonderful to come to the Divine Fellowship and get your batteries recharged. But if this is all you have, and this is all the nourishment you're giving yourself, it might be not enough. And if I can share with you ways to access this higher energy and access this spiritual reconnect and spiritual reset more often, that would really be of benefit to you. Now, with that said, the process we're going to do today is going to help you get clear. Clarity is just part of the process. The other part of the process is then spiritually nourishing yourself. And part of that spiritual nourishment is gratitude, service, and appreciation. So if you can apply those, and of course, divine communication, our daily bread. We don't live by bread alone, but we live by that communication, that spiritual communication, daily. Keep the door open. If we're open, but we're not conscious, divine energy cannot flow. You're open, but if we don't bring our awareness into it, if we're not in the conscious thought, if we're back in here of the fear, fight or flight, then all we can do is comply or rebel. The power of making a positive choice in our life has been stolen from us. So fight or flight is comply or rebel. I'm not doing what you say. Oh, I'll do anything you say. Neither of those is an appropriate choice for a spiritually awakened person. A spiritually awakened person will go, let me look at the situation. What is the next best thing? What is the next correct thing? What is the next right thing for me to do? I don't worry about all of that. I don't project myself into the future, but I look here. Now I have a goal in mind. I have a direction in mind. But my focus is, let me just do the next right thing. And if the next right thing is telling someone no, I do it. Not because I'm afraid, not because I'm defiant, but because it's a good choice for me. It's a good choice for the situation. And sometimes the next right thing is saying no. Sometimes the next right thing is saying yes. But if we're back in this primal brain, we don't get to do that. We just react, comply, rebel. We're in a place of walking a sacred path. And walking a sacred path requires us to be present and aware. When we're in that state of awareness, this beautiful divine energy flows and inspires us. So we don't even have to know what the next right thing is. It will be revealed. And we'll have an inspiration to know what next to do. Make sense? So the urgency I feel came out in the word need, and I apologize for that. So can we back that up a little bit and allow me to say it in this way? The urgency I feel is that without utilizing the spiritual reset, burnout is gonna get us. We got too much stuff going on, too much things that are important for us, and burnout is not an option. So let's get back to really living our lives with joy and gratitude and this delight that we're all meant to have. Make sense? So let me walk you through this guided meditation.